Hey Ryan.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, how you doing?
Good.
Hey everyone. Sorry, my phone is or my computer just crashed on me, so I'm dialing in from my phone. So hopefully this goes okay.
All good. I can hear you.
All right, should we get started? I don't think Nadi's going to be here because of time zone.
We should.
Dov, you want to lead her items?
Yeah. Um, so there have been some back and forth on the infinite scroll issue for the Log Explorer. Basically, if you read through the comments there have been not a lot of concern. There is like one specific questions that I would like to get maybe your thoughts on the issue, which is, what do we mean by infinite scrolling? And so if I'm logging into the Log Explorer and I pick the time range past 30 minutes, for instance, should I be able to scroll beyond that past 30 minutes? Let's say that I'm browsing through the logs and then I scroll up. Should I hit like the wall in the last 30 minutes? And in order to see beyond that, should I change the time picker? So that's I think that this is like the main concern. There are some other questions which I answer based on my experience, and you're all welcome to answer. And so I think we decided that on the majority of the question, we do have a plan on how to proceed. We have many items that we want to implement before we will address some of those concerns, and we can definitely start user research to better understand and get some answers to our questions. And I think what we've decided, and I actually need to get the consensus around that for an MVC, for the infinite scrolling issue, we want to address the 500 line limitation, at least for now. What is the 500 line limitation? Basically, we cannot go beyond 500 line. So it doesn't matter if I'm choosing last 30 minutes, last 15 minutes, or last 8 hours. If I have more than 500 lines, that will be the limitation. So I think that specifically for that issue on the infinite scrolling, and let's leave aside if we want to go beyond the time scale, let's at least make sure that we are not hitting this limitation. If the user chooses the last 30 minutes, let's at least give the user the last 30 minutes. If the user asks for a specific time gap, let's give the user that time gap as an MVC. And then we can do the user research and understand if the user is settled for the time gap, or maybe he wants to scroll beyond that time gap. So that's that's basically the conversation around that. If that makes sense, and we can collaborate on that async, we can update the description because there have been some confusion around what do we mean by infinite scrolling. Yeah, that's it. Any thoughts? You can verbalize now, and we can put them on the issue, whatever you prefer. Okay. The next item Nadia had, she mentioned that all MRs that change the user experience require UX approval. If you would like to make any changes to the user experience, please create a UX issue first and tag me in an existing issue. If something small, so we can have a discussion about it before making the change in the product. Second item, it's important that we follow the UX approval process for all MR to prevent any possible regression in the user experience. And if there are UX questions involved, it's better to have a discussion about it before working on an MR to save time. Any thoughts or concern around Nadia's comment here? Okay. Yeah. Next one is for me. So I've linked an issue which is open, and I know that Miguel is working on that, which is to add a link to the embedded panel to go to the log page. If you go to that issue, you'll see that on the embedded panel we can embed the actual chart in an incident, and if we will be able to add the link to the log page, then we can basically say that we've completed the triage to minimal workflow, which is the workflow that we want to go, eventually we want to go for an incident directly to the Log Explorer. So if we'll be able to close this, and I think that Miguel mentioned that you need also a backend engineer here, then it will save us some effort.
Because Matt asked about this issue today, and I would have some capacity tomorrow, so I will hop on this and try to help Miguel wrapping up.
Yeah, thank you. That's a high. It has a lot of visibility for that specific issue. Sid specifically asked for that, and once it will there, it will surface in Sid's level. So.
I will put top priority to work on this, except over all the rest of my tasks.
Yeah. Clement, what's your you want to verbalize your?
So to me, it's not very clear priority-wise, based on the labels. So I was wondering if we can do better at that, or whether is this like the highest priority, like above dog food monitoring OKR? Or
so here's the thing. I mean, we had an issue, like one single issue, for have the ability to drill from Log Explorer, from incident to the Log Explorer, and I think you've been in that issue. And I asked Sarah for assistance because the triage to minimal is something that we already work on that, and we wanted to finalize that. That's like a leftover from the previous iteration. And I thought that it is going to be like pretty big effort, but it appears that there is a shortcut here just by completing that issue. So what Miguel told me that we'll basically get this for free because we've already added the drill down from the metrics chart to the Log Explorer. So at least based on what Miguel told me, is that it's not a lot of effort just to complete that cycle and make sure that users will be able to drill down from the Log Explorer, from the incident to the Log Explorer, because we already have the foundation. So I was thinking that this is like a low-hanging fruit, that we can do that tackle that quickly and finalize that. That like happened in last week. He said, hey, we can do that. And I thought, why not? Because it can save us some time.
Okay. I just think it makes it a little bit confusing since we're saying this highest priority, but then we're also saying
I'm not saying it's the highest
low-hanging
priority.
fruit.
I'm not saying it's the highest priority. I'm not saying it's the highest priority. I'm saying that we have like an opportunity here to complete something and put this task behind us instead of dragging that to the next, I don't know, 2-3 iteration. If we have some capacity in this iteration, we can simply complete that. And if it's a big effort, like more than like a day of work, then maybe we should pause that. But based on the conversation that I had with Miguel, and again, maybe I'm wrong here. He said that it can be like a quick win.
Got it. Okay. Sounds good. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah. It's not that we are going to like create like a whole lot of issues around it. It's like one thing that we want to close and finalize.
Cool. I tried to capture the notes based on what we talked about here. I think next is your point.
Yeah, so we talked about it briefly about the OKR that we have about the Grafana dashboard. So can we work maybe, because I saw that the last task of trying to clone the Grafana dashboard was pretty quick and we were able to discover multiple issues. So it would be good if we can expose additional gaps that we can try to tackle for the next iteration so I can plan up ahead.
I think for this one, it's kind of what I wrote down. I spoke to Andrew earlier today. He seemed to indicate that I still didn't really fully understand what he was saying, but my understanding was, we use JSONNet for current Grafana setup where there's some tool that converts that into how Grafana parses it. And there might be a better approach to how we're kind of writing our schema or make it more scalable so we're not copying and pasting as much as we are right now. So I think there's something there that we want to address probably sooner rather than later. That's the only thing that comes to mind that we haven't documented. And I've created a meeting for that already.
Okay, interesting. But I think that those gaps, regardless, are gaps that we want to expose. It doesn't matter if we use JSONNet or not. I think JSONNet is just for the way we are.
Yeah, I don't
creating
think it's related
the dashboard.
to JSONNet. It's more about how we're creating the schemas so that they can scale without having to copy and paste.
What do you mean copy and paste?
Cool. So right now when we're doing the dashboard, we're writing the queries for each of the dashboard. Right. The way Andrew is coming off as saying, hey, we should write this way so that it can generate these different dashboards rather than having hard coded for each of these.
Okay, interesting. Not familiar with it, but it will be good to have this conversation.
Yeah, we have the calls, so we can move from there. But that's just the main thing that I saw. I think what the team has started working on has been pretty good, though.
Yeah, and this is why I'm saying that regardless of the discussion, we can wait until the discussion with Andrew if you think it makes sense. But I ideally I would like to avoid on what happened to us in this iteration is that we discover those issues and we need to quickly adjust. Not that it's a bad thing. It's good that we did that, but it kind of like affected the planning that we had for 12.9. And I want to make sure that in 13 we will know up ahead what are the critical issues that we want to plan. This is why I want to do it sooner rather than later.
Didn't we discuss about this issue early in the morning asynchronously? I do remember that we were discussing about the argument support for the monitoring dashboards. and I believe that we wanted to move the epic to another one so we can perhaps adjust it to a later milestone, but perhaps we might want to move it to earlier one. Let me get you the link.
Okay.
I cannot find it. I'll try to find it and I'll
Okay.
add it.
Yeah, add it or maybe send it in the Slack. Send this in the APM channel or in the monitoring channel. We can
Yep.
post it. Cool. Okay, next one. Is you, Jose?
Yeah. Kirsty already responded. I was just wondering if it's a good idea to get ahead of time so we can actually ship this in 12.8 to send the removal of the feature flag merge request to a final maintainer review. It's already been approved by both backend and frontend. It's just waiting on merge. But since it depends on some issues, more to be more specific, this one because the other ones have been merged. I'm wondering if sending this to a final maintainer review might be a little bit premature, just in case this might not make it on 12.8 since we're so close to the cutoff date.
Can we set it that it depends on the current one being merged? I don't know how that depends on feature works. I don't know if that'll like prevent it from being merged or not.
Right. Yeah, we can do that and see how it goes. Thank you.
How confident we are in making this for 12.8?
I'm just waiting on a maintainer review for it right now. So, I mean, I submitted it yesterday, and I was hoping to get one today, and didn't. So I'm assuming that it'll be tomorrow. Our cutoff date is going to be Monday, so I feel pretty comfortable that it would get in before then.
Cool. Okay. Because that was the last item of the agenda. Anything else someone want to verbalize or ask? Okay. Guess not. So thanks everyone for this meeting. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.